guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Erica, and today I'm coming at you guys with a different type of video than I normally do. Today's video is going to be, I guess, a paranormal slash ghostly story time. I don't know what to categorize it, but before I get into it, I do want to put out a disclaimer that, like, if there are any, like, places or people, I'm gonna probably change their names just for privacy reasons. However, everything else that I'm gonna tell you is 100% true. I would not lie about this. This was kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Traumatic. It traumatized me for a while, so I'm not lying about this. Anyway, without further ado, I'm just gonna jump right into it. So as you guys can tell by the title, there was one week in 2013 when my life was a living hell. I'm not being dramatic. It really was a living hell, and I am pretty positive my house was haunted, and not even, like, I don't even know how to explain it. Something was taking over my house. I'm laughing because now that I think about it, and after years of trying to rationalize what was going on, I really can't because of how traumatic and scary and everything. Oh, okay. I'm gonna just go into it because I'm gonna keep babbling. Anyway, so let's flash back to spring break of 2013. I believe, yes, I was a junior in high school. And, ooh, okay. Little thing that you need to know about me is that I've always been very into the paranormal and very into, like, spiritual and ghostly things. I don't know why I've been like that. I feel like maybe I've had family members that have been like that. Like, I've had an uncle that was very spiritual and very into that kind of way of life, and that has always just been something that I've been curious about. So I am not shy to learning about that type of stuff. I'm not shy to learning about spirits and ghosts and other dimensions and stuff like that. I just want to preface that so you guys understand why I got myself into the situation that I got myself into. So at the time, I was going through some things in my life where my escape was reading on paranormal things and reading on mythology and all of this different type of stuff. I was a curious kid, and I was a teenager, and that was just my thing. So when it came time to be spring break, I had this friend. I'm gonna call her Daisy for the sake of privacy. We're not friends anymore. That could be another story time, but me and Daisy, we both had, like, a mutual interest in this type of stuff. We really were into, like, life after life, and, like, we were really into ghosts and spirits. I remember that there was a store near my old house and near my high school that was, like, a spiritual store. I'm gonna call it St. Christine's. I don't even know if that's a saint's name or whatever, but it was Saint something, but for, you know, privacy reasons, we're gonna call it St. Christine's. Anyway, St. Christine's, this store, they sold spiritual tools. They sold, like, candles and smudging tools and sage and just stuff like that. It was one of those stores. However, like, the farther you got into the store, the creepier it got. Like, it was the weirdest, most bizarre thing ever. It went from being a kind of soft spiritual type of store where you can get, like, your decor and your essentials and this and that, and then you go deeper, and then it gets more into, like, the Wiccan type of things, but not even, like, the spiritual Wiccan type of thing, kind of more like the commercial Wiccan stuff, where a lot of it was just really negative. Like, a lot of the things that they were selling were really negative and kind of like, well, what's going on with the store? Like, it went from being open-mindedly spiritual to straight-on Satanist, and I don't have opinions on that. I really don't. I don't judge people for what they believe in. I was really into, like, learning about this stuff and checking it out, and I don't know why, but pure curiosity. That's how I found the place, and that is why I took my friend there, because I thought it would be a cool spook. I thought, hey, like, I'm not going to see you for a week, so maybe this will be fun to do after school, and then I'll see you next week when we come back from spring break. And so I took her there, and we went there originally to look for an Ouija board, which, by the way, I'm sorry, I'm playing with my hair. By the way, I have a lot of Ouija board stories, but that's for another time. We had never seen an Ouija board. I was a teenager, and I figured they sold all of this other shit. They could sell Ouija boards. We got there, they didn't sell Ouija boards. Not the point. So we kind of like let that go. And when we were there, we were looking around. It was so, again, you have to be the kind of person who likes this stuff to really appreciate how awesome it was, like how awesome of an experience it was for us. Otherwise, you're probably thinking like, well, you're crazy. But after not finding the Ouija board, we just decided to look around. I saw like little tubes of like werewolf hair and like magic spells, and just now that I think about it, it reminds me of like a weirder, more realistic, more, what's the word? Hyped up, like if you can imagine a religious / spiritual store commercial, like Hot Topic, that's how it was. It was like the Hot Topic of kind of like small, like family owned creepy stores, right? And so like they sold a lot of stuff that obviously wasn't real, or I don't believe is real. They sold books of magic, just like weird things that really didn't fit the front of their store, but we loved it. We had a good time. I know I'm rambling about the store because I just want you to understand that this store was creepy, but also understand that it was purposely creepy. It wasn't like, oh, like a random store that someone just stumbled upon and it really is creepy. I'm pretty sure that that's how they made their money, to make it look as creepy as possible. If that makes any sense. I don't know if I'm making sense, but anyway. So we're looking around, and I don't exactly know how the owner approached us. I don't remember because it was like literally like 5 years ago. But he approached us either way, and he just started looking around the room really fucking creepy. Like, he just like was like, and like this was the noise he was making. Like weird noises. And I know I'm not doing it justice, but that was what he was doing. He was looking around, and I remember me and my friend Daisy, we looked at this guy and we were like, what the fuck? And he was just like, ladies, I think you should leave soon. And we were like, why? And like we were getting our rocks off. Like it was funny to us at the time. And he was just like, the spirits are awake and they're angry. They're upset. And we were like watching him. It was like a free show, honestly. I know that sounds very disrespectful, but when you're a 16-year-old girl or 17, whatever age I was, I don't remember, you don't take that shit seriously. And so while I wasn't laughing in his face, I was laughing on the inside because I was like, we didn't even buy anything yet and he's giving us free entertainment. So he was telling us that the spirits weren't happy and that they weren't happy with some presence in the store. However, it was just me and her in the store and the owners. And I'm like, well, it's got to be us because y'all work here. You're here every day. So, you know, it's got to be us. And I remember Daisy was like, did we do something? Because, like, she was the one who talked. And she was like, did we do something? And they were like, oh, we couldn't tell for sure. But we're gonna cleanse. They basically said we're gonna cleanse the store, like just stay tight, and we're gonna cleanse the store. And I didn't know what this meant. At this point, I was a little creeped out because this guy was like really weird. Now that I think about it, I think the guy was just really high, or he was just very spiritual and one of those people. But it scared the living shit out of me because like every time he got near me, specifically, his eyes bulged like he saw like something evil, and like he would never look directly at me. He would look over my shoulder or like next to me, and that would scare the shit out of me. Only because, not because I necessarily believed that there was anything in the store. It was more so he creeped me out. And so anyway, this guy cleanses the store. I'm awful at talking about spiritual tools and sage and smudging or whatever. So I'm not going to try to talk about what he used, but it was something like that to like cleanse the store of the negative energy. And he said something in like Latin, I believe it was. And me and Daisy were like freaked out at this point because when he came out, he cleansed the store with whatever and was saying whatever. And then people from the back came out who were not in the store at all at the time. They came from like the back, like where they like store extra things and what have you. And they were just like looking at us, and they were looking around the store, and me and Daisy were like, okay, time to go. So we leave, and I remember that, well, we both had like a curfew, so we didn't go home right away. That was when we like tried to make the Ouija board. We made it out of notebook paper and a pencil. We used the pencil as the planchette, whatever. That was a bust. That didn't work. That's not where the story's going. So I know that this is very long, but it's important to know like what happened in this situation to understand what happens later on. I'm probably going to make a part 2 of this because this is a lot. This is a week of events. Just know that we're going to cover the first night in this video. I come home, and I don't dare tell my dad that I went to that store because he told me never to go to that store, because my dad is one of those religious people where he really is not he's not very open-minded when it comes to spirituality. He doesn't believe in it. He thinks that it's like a gateway drug to devil worship, basically. So I wasn't gonna tell him at all. And so that night was a living fucking hell. I remember I got home at 8 o'clock. I'm one of those people that, so I remember I got home at 8 o'clock, and I relaxed, and usually I was a night owl at the time, so I was in my room really late at night, and I decided that I needed to force myself to sleep. I needed to force myself to sleep because I had an obligation the next day, whatever. And so I tried to sleep. I couldn't sleep. And now that I think about it, I'm considering that it might have been sleep paralysis. I really am considering it, but you never know. And my body went into, like, literally, like, it gave up on me. I remember closing my eyes, and I remember not being able to move, like, at all. I couldn't even lift my arm up. And that's, like, textbook sign of sleep paralysis. But I'm laughing because it really was traumatic. But I remember just, because I couldn't move, I had my eyes open and they were like moving around, and I remember praying. And keep in mind, I'm not a very religious person, but I remember praying because I've never in my entire life experienced that before. And because like not only was my body frozen on the bed and I couldn't move, I felt hands, or I felt like I was being touched, like literally everywhere. It was, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like reliving it, and I'm re-feeling the movement and re-feeling the touch, and it's so fucking terrifying. But I'm laughing because it really scared me, and that's just how I handle things. But yeah, I was touched everywhere, and I just remember crying. I was actually crying because I couldn't move and I couldn't do anything, and I was praying for it to stop. And I was like, please God, make it stop, please God. I kept saying that over and over again, and eventually it did stop. And then I took a breath. I breathed it. I couldn't breathe. It felt like I couldn't breathe. And I finally like took a breath, and my body felt loose, and my body felt like I could move, and I like slowly kind of came to. And the second that I felt like that heavy weight lifted up, I took a deep breath again, and I was like, thank you, God. And then at the foot of my bed, I'm like getting scared just fucking talking about this, guys. At the foot of my bed, I heard a kid's laugh. I shit you not. I heard a kid's laugh. I can't make this up. There are no children in my house. There were no children at the time. Like, my brother was, the youngest was probably 9 years old. It would be, and he was sleeping. Nobody was in my room. Nobody was allowed in my room. I was one of those kids. So it was like, and it wasn't even like a regular child voice. It was like very fake. It was a clear fake child voice. Like, if you could think about scary movies, you think of that high-pitched voice from like a kid, like when, you know, there's like a ghost or something that's haunting you. That's what it was. It was the foot of my bed, and I promise you guys, I've never run that fast before. I just want to mention that how big my house was. It was literally, it was like I was in another wing of my house. So I remember running from that part of my house to the other part where a majority of my family was sleeping, because my room was isolated from everyone else's because, you know, whatever. And I ran, and I woke my dad up, I woke my brothers up. I could not sleep. It was horrific. I fell asleep crying on the couch that night. And that's just the beginning. To this day, I still kind of like try to rationalize like what it was, what it could have been, and I'm leaning towards sleep paralysis, but I wasn't tired. And I don't know the science behind sleep paralysis, but I feel like when that happens, you're at least nodding off, and I was wide awake. I closed my eyes for literally a second to try to force myself to sleep, and then that happened. And it honestly felt like whatever that noise was at the foot of my bed was taunting me, was like laughing at me because I was just a couple seconds ago paralyzed and praying to God to help me. It was just a horrific experience, and that was just the beginning. After that event, that whole week was like unbearable. It was so impossible, and it wasn't even just me that was having these experiences. My dad was having them, my brothers were having them, and I got into a shit ton of trouble. But for the sake of time and length of this video, I'm gonna end it here. If you guys want to see like a part 2 or a part 3 or whatever, please let me know by giving this video a thumbs up and commenting down below if that's what you want to see. I am thinking about doing it according to night, so there might be several installments of this story, just because each night there was something new, and each night it was very extensive, and I have to talk about it. Because there's a reason why I call it the week of hell for me. It was a week of hell. It literally ended in us basically blessing our house. I could not make this up. I would never make this up because of how traumatic it was for me. So I do feel like it'll have to be explained in several videos. If you guys are interested in hearing that, please, like I said, give this video a thumbs up. Let me know. Also, let me know what you think about this. Have you ever experienced something like this? What do you think it could possibly be from? Do you think that there is a correlation between my visiting the store and the whole event that happened later on that night, or do you think that that was just sleep paralysis? Keep in mind that there is more to this story, and this stuff never happened before I visited this store. But that's all that I have for you guys today. If you like this video and you want to see more, make sure you hit the subscribe button and subscribe to my channel. Also click on the notification bell so you can be updated with more installments of this crazy ass story and more stories, because I live a very scary life sometimes. I feel like I'm always going through some kind of paranormal shit that I want to share with you guys. But yeah, that's all that I have for you guys, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.